General Hospital spoilers reveal that the return of Britt to Port Charles is no longer a simple resurrection. It is a revelation that shatters everything Jason thought he knew about love, loyalty, and legacy. What was once a tragic end has now twisted into a chaotic rebirth, one laced with secrets too massive to ignore. Britt's sudden appearance is not just a second chance at love for Jason, but the opening salvo in a new war of identity, blood, and betrayal. She does not return alone. In her arms is a child, Jason's child. A quiet, piercing truth now exposed. A living link to a love that never got the chance to flourish. This child is not a fantasy or a mistaken identity. He bears Jason's strength in his eyes and Britt's fierce resilience in his silence. And alongside Britt, walking with haunting calm, is a woman few have ever seen but whose existence alters Jason's entire foundation, the long-lost sister of Monica, a secret kept buried for decades. This woman is intelligent, commanding, and shares Monica's defiant spirit. Her presence is not accidental. And her connection to both Jason and Britt is far more tangled than anyone could have prepared for. With her arrival, Jason is forced to confront not just the reality of his child and the rekindled emotions he still harbors for Britt, but also a storm of unresolved guilt tied to Monica's death and the family she never knew she had. This new woman, Monica's sister, brings a past soaked in bitterness, not just toward the Quartermaines, but toward Jason himself. She believes that Monica's death was no accident, that it was the result of choices made by those too blind to see the storm brewing beneath them. And she holds Jason accountable, not for the act itself, but for failing to protect the woman who loved him like a son. Her grief is sharpened by time, transformed into obsession. And now that she has arrived in Port Charles with Britt and the child of Jason, she intends to reclaim everything she believes was stolen, from her, from Monica, and from the future that never came. This web of connection explodes into something far more insidious as Jason begins to sense that this woman has been manipulating the shadows long before Britt's return. He suspects she may have been pulling strings from the fringes of the Cassadine or WSB chaos, watching and waiting until the moment came to enter Port Charles not as a stranger, but as a force of reckoning. Jason, torn between protecting his child and unraveling the truth behind Britt's survival, is now thrust into emotional warfare he cannot walk away from. Every step he takes toward this new family threatens to unravel the identity he has carefully held together. What if Monica knew about her sister? What if this woman's arrival is tied directly to the secrets Monica died protecting? The emotional weight is suffocating. Britt's presence is already destabilizing. She is his past, his love, his failure, and now the mother of his child. But the added presence of Monica's sister fractures him deeper. He begins to question not just what he believes, but who he really is in the grand design of a family built on legacy, lies, and survival. Port Charles begins to feel the tremors of this return. Carly grows suspicious, sensing the way Jason's priorities are shifting. Sam quietly steps back, watching Jason spiral into a role he never asked for but now cannot abandon. Sonny, ever the strategist, questions whether Britt's reappearance is tied to something more dangerous than anyone realizes. And the child, silent, observing, connected to the bloodlines of both chaos and heroism, may become the center of a storm that rips through every foundation the town stands on. Jason's obsession with understanding the past, reclaiming his lost time with Britt, and protecting his son soon turns into a dangerous fixation. He starts investigating Britt's journey during her absence and uncovers breadcrumbs leading to Victor's falsified death, to Liesel's betrayal, and possibly to something much darker, a program within the WSB designed to clone, control, or reconstruct identities for political purposes. If Britt survived, who helped her? Who made her vanish? And was her child truly born in secrecy, or crafted in manipulation? The deeper Jason digs, the more he realizes that love may not be enough. Britt may not even be in control of her own return. And Monica's sister may not have come to reunite, but to dismantle. This is no longer just a reunion. It is a reckoning. And Jason stands at the center of it all, haunted by Monica's memory, drawn to Britt's fire, shaken by fatherhood, and pursued by a woman whose past burns like an unquenchable flame. Whatever this is, it's not just a second chance, it's a battle for truth, for family, and for identity. And Jason may discover that sometimes the people we love are the ones who hurt us the most, not because they want to, but because the truth they bring cannot be contained. The story surrounding the emerging adjustments and volatile calculations now gripping Port Charles reveals one undeniable truth: chaos has taken hold, and Jason is at the center of it all. As every thread of control begins to unravel, one thing becomes increasingly clear: Jason must act. He is no longer just a silent enforcer, no longer a man isolated from emotion. He is now a father, a protector, and a man trying to preserve the legacy of those he has lost. The return of Britt has brought with it not only a surge of emotion but an avalanche of complications. Her reappearance, entangled with secrets, a hidden child, and connections to Monica's long-lost sister, has disrupted the already fragile stability at General Hospital. Jason, once focused purely on immediate threats, now finds himself calculating the long game, strategizing how to re-establish order in a world fractured by lies, returns from the dead, and emotional betrayal. This latest upheaval marks a turning point not only for Jason but for the very soul of GH. Jason recognizes that to move forward, he must restore balance within the corridors of the hospital. Not just medically or structurally, but spiritually. Too many ghosts walk those halls now. Monica's legacy hangs in the air like a question left unanswered, while Britt's return stirs whispers among the staff and ignites fears among those who knew her presumed death meant the end of something meaningful. But it didn't. Her return, alongside Jason's child and Monica's hidden sister, has thrown everything into a whirlwind that no one was prepared to face. Jason knows that with Britt, nothing is ever simple. She carries her past like armor and her guilt like a shadow, but there's no doubt she wants stability just as much as he does. Together, their shared pain, lost time, and fierce instincts drive them to confront what others would bury. Yet that same drive also puts them on a dangerous path. Rebuilding the structure at GH isn't just about healing, it's about identifying the forces manipulating events behind the scenes. And Jason suspects that if they don't get a handle on these shifts, chaos will spill beyond the walls of GH into the heart of Port Charles. Britt, for her part, understands the danger just as deeply. She knows her return has upset the power dynamics in ways few could predict. The child she brought into this world is not just Jason's blood, he is a symbol of everything their enemies want to control. There are whispers of cloning experiments, WSB infiltration, and a secret medical network that may have ties to Britt's reappearance. Jason and Britt both realize that if they don't take calculated action now, others will. And those others won't care about the consequences. Their decisions become a matter of timing and strategy. Should they expose the truth about Monica's sister now, or wait? Should they reveal the child's existence to protect him, or keep him hidden to maintain an advantage? Every answer breeds new complications. Jason's loyalty to the memory of Monica and the moral compass she instilled in him wars against the raw need to protect his new family at any cost. Meanwhile, Britt, torn between redemption and survival, struggles with the burden of knowing that their stability may rest on decisions no one will understand or forgive. Jason finds himself confronting new kinds of enemies, ones who don't announce themselves with weapons but manipulate behind surgical masks and hospital policy. He begins to uncover small details. Falsified patient logs, strange gaps in staff rotation, and unauthorized WSB-level clearance on medical files involving patients long presumed dead. Each discovery points to the same conclusion. Britt's return was engineered, not accidental. And whoever orchestrated it is still watching. The tension escalates as Jason realizes that controlling the narrative is now as crucial as controlling territory. One wrong move, one miscalculated reveal, and everything collapses. He and Britt must operate in shadows, reforge alliances carefully, and silence opposition without drawing too much attention. Portia becomes a potential ally, but also a wildcard with loyalties still unclear. Isaiah, increasingly implicated in deeper plots, watches Jason warily. Carly begins to suspect Jason is hiding something, something personal. Something dangerous. And Sam, always intuitive, senses that Jason's bond with Britt has rekindled in ways that may not end well for anyone involved. Still, Jason pushes forward. The future of General Hospital depends on clarity, trust, and leadership, qualities he must summon at a time when his own soul is in flux. As he and Britt begin laying down a framework to expose the corruption, protect their child, and perhaps restore GH to a place of honor, they also come to terms with what they've become. Survivors. Strategists. Parents. Soldiers in a battle for truth. And through it all, Jason remains haunted by Monica's absence. Driven by the weight of her expectations and the memory of her unwavering faith in him. Her voice still echoes in the back of his mind, not as judgment, but as a reminder of the man he was meant to be, not the weapon, not the protector, but the cornerstone. If General Hospital is to survive this storm, Jason knows he must rise not just as a defender of the building, but of the people, the legacy, and the fragile hope that something good can still be built from the ruins. This is not the Jason of old. This is a Jason sharpened by loss, galvanized by love, and steeled by purpose. And with Britt at his side, for better or worse, he is ready to dismantle the chaos brick by brick until peace returns, or until everything falls apart. The story unfolding in Port Charles is rapidly spiraling into a new era of power shifts, obsessions, and reckoning. At the heart of it all stands Jason, no longer the silent enforcer lurking in the shadows, but a man on the brink of transformation. The return of Britt, both shocking and untimely, has reignited something fierce and unyielding within him, a sense of purpose tethered not just to love, but to legacy, responsibility, and survival. With Sonny quietly stepping down from the underworld throne he ruled for decades, a void has emerged at the center of the city's criminal empire. It is a void that demands to be filled. And all signs now point to Jason as the inevitable successor. But this is not a peaceful transition, this is a storm-gathering force, fed by rivalries, old debts, and the undeniable chemistry between Jason and Britt, who, together, are becoming the most dangerous and compelling power couple Port Charles has seen in years. Jason never asked for the crown. For years, he served loyally, cleaning up messes, protecting the Corinthos name, and sacrificing personal happiness in exchange for control and order. But now that Sonny is retreating from the chaos and choosing to distance himself from the violence that once defined him, Jason is left staring down the inevitable. There is no one else who commands the same loyalty, fear, and respect from allies and enemies alike. And with Britt's return, carrying her own emotional weight, medical knowledge, and moral ambiguity, Jason is no longer fighting alone. Together, they form a union of strategy and passion, a calculated partnership that can stabilize a crumbling empire or light the match that burns it down. Yet beneath the surface of this new alliance lie dangerous undercurrents. Jason is still haunted by Britt's mysterious resurrection and the secrets she refuses to share. Her absence had been accepted as death, and now her return is wrapped in silence, half-truths, and unexplained trauma. Whispers swirl that her time away wasn't just survival but captivity, perhaps even manipulation by forces still hidden within the WSB or worse. Jason senses the danger but can't deny the pull. The woman he once thought he lost has returned stronger, sharper, and more fiercely determined than ever, and her presence awakens something inside him he thought long buried, hope. With Sonny out of the picture, enemies begin circling like vultures. Victor may be dead, or may not be. Ava and Valentine quietly consolidate influence. Cyrus reemerges in shadows, offering quiet threats and unspoken promises. And Nina, fractured by betrayal, becomes an emotional wild card with nothing left to lose. In the middle of this, Jason is no longer just a protector, he's a target, a leader, and an icon of stability in a world that thrives on chaos. And while Carly eyes the rise of Jason and Britt with veiled concern, even she recognizes that Jason may be the only one capable of holding Port Charles together without letting it slip into complete anarchy. As Britt steps further into Jason's world, she does not merely follow, she leads. Her knowledge of experimental medicine, her connection to underground networks, and her ability to manipulate both emotion and science make her a uniquely powerful figure. She does not fear violence but understands how to wield influence in a world built on whispers and backroom deals. Jason, once a man of singular focus, now has a partner who challenges his instincts and matches his resolve. Where he seeks control through silence, she demands clarity through confrontation. Together, they forge a new path forward, one where Britt is not just Jason's lover, but his equal. But power comes at a cost. Their relationship draws scrutiny from all sides. Former allies question Britt's loyalty. Old flames stir resentment and jealousy. And new players, like Isaiah, quietly calculating in the background, begin testing the boundaries of Jason's reach. With the fragile truce among crime families unraveling, Port Charles teeters on the edge of war. The streets talk. The docks shift. The hospital becomes a hub of covert operations. And at the heart of it all, Jason and Britt navigate a web of loyalty, deception, and ambition. Jason's evolution into the new mob boss isn't just a matter of succession, it's a transformation. The man who once swore to avoid attachments now finds himself building a dynasty with a woman who refuses to be silenced or sidelined. They operate with precision, cutting deals in dimly lit rooms, silencing threats with calculated brutality, and protecting the innocent with merciless efficiency. It is a delicate dance of blood and power. And every step draws them deeper into the center of a storm neither fully understands. As Sonny fades into the background, Jason stands at the precipice of something terrifying and exhilarating. Absolute control. But the deeper he goes, the more he risks becoming the very thing he once swore to destroy. With Britt at his side, he begins to question whether redemption is possible in a world so steeped in violence, or whether they're already too far gone. Either way, the new era of Port Charles has begun. And it bears their names, Jason and Britt, the new power couple rising from the ashes of death, betrayal, and obsession. And as the city braces for the chaos to come, only one thing is certain. Nothing will ever be the same again. The return of Britt has ushered in a tidal wave of power, obsession, and uncertainty for Jason. And it is quickly becoming clear that her presence is not just a shock to his emotional world, but a calculated advantage in his rise to power. Britt is no longer merely the woman he once loved. She has become a force of her own, carrying with her not only secrets from her past but a new set of strategic advantages that no one else in Port Charles possesses. Her knowledge of the dark corridors of the WSB, her understanding of underground medicine and political manipulation, and her unwavering loyalty to Jason have made her an asset he never expected, but now cannot afford to lose. This unexpected edge she brings is not just useful, it's intoxicating. And Jason is becoming increasingly consumed by it. What began as a simple emotional reunion is spiraling into something far more volatile. Jason, long known for his stoic resolve and solitary nature, finds himself pulled into a vortex of shared ambition and haunting desire. Britt fuels a part of him he thought he buried long ago, a hunger not just for connection, but for dominion. She speaks his language in ways others never could, understanding the weight of violence, the cost of control, and the thrill of danger. But this alliance, though seemingly powerful, is not without its shadows. Jason is beginning to see patterns, moments of silence in her words, inconsistencies in her explanations, flashes of pain in her eyes that suggest the trauma of her return may be more than just survival. These aren't just red flags, they are obsessions forming in the back of Jason's mind, whispering that not everything is as it seems. And yet, he can't walk away. Britt is giving him the upper hand in a city teetering on the edge of war. With Sonny stepping down, with Cyrus and Victor's factions scattering and regrouping, and with every power broker from Valentine to Selena circling like vultures, Jason needs someone who can move with surgical precision through both hospital corridors and criminal networks. Britt is that someone. She opens doors he didn't know existed and whispers names he thought were long buried. Together, they are more than just a couple, they are an empire being built in real time, under the weight of past betrayals and the promise of future domination. But obsession is a double-edged sword. The more Jason depends on Britt, the more he questions whether his choices are strategic or emotional. Has she truly returned for him, or for a purpose darker than he can imagine? Is she manipulating events for their shared gain? Or is there a hidden agenda guiding her steps? These questions haunt him, not because he doesn't trust her, but because he knows how much he wants to. That desire, burning, relentless, and all-consuming, is becoming his greatest vulnerability. And in Port Charles, vulnerability is a currency enemies trade in blood. The city is already feeling the shift. Allies are uneasy. Carly watches from afar, silent but unsettled. Michael grows suspicious. Nina senses something shifting but cannot place it. Even Liesel, usually unreadable, has kept her distance from Britt's return. As if she knows a secret too dangerous to speak. Jason, caught between the clarity of his instincts and the fog of his emotions, presses forward. Using every tool Britt gives him while secretly fearing the price of that power. And Britt, beautiful, brilliant, broken in places Jason cannot reach, continues to hand him the keys to a future they could rule together or destroy each other in pursuit of. Her love, or what she claims is love, is a maze Jason walks blindly, driven not by logic but by something deeper, an ache that only she seems to soothe. But as he takes each calculated step, he wonders, when the time comes, will she stand by him or stand over him, holding the blade? In this unfolding chaos, one thing is undeniable: Britt has brought Jason advantages no one else could. But she has also brought something far more dangerous: obsession. And as that obsession grows, it may become the very fire that consumes them both. Because in Port Charles, love never comes without consequences, and power never comes without blood.